The Dolphins are pretenders. The Dolphins are pretenders. We've been knowing this. I've been said it on this channel. I've been said it on this podcast. A lot of Dolphin fans did not like it. They were in my YouTube videos commenting, what are you talking about?" I kept telling them, "You're not beating the good teams. You're not beating the teams with the winning records. All these good teams are beating you guys. Like, you guys do look good, but against these sorry ass teams. So, like, you guys still got to prove it." And they didn't believe it, and boom, choked the division away. Bills win their fourth straight division, and now the Dolphins look, sad, to be honest. In the press conference, you could tell Mike McDaniel's spark is kind of gone. He's a little, down. The bass in his voice is not there. You could tell he's like a little dopey, a little moany, like it makes sense. They choked the division away, but I'm here to give you guys the silver lining. This is the positive spin on this. Okay. The Dolphins, as they're currently constructed with both their edge rushers, Phillips and Chubb, being out, they were not going too deep into the playoffs once they get these better teams. Not only because they haven't really beaten any good teams this year, and there's a lot of stuff that they need to work on. Tua needs to get better. That defense needs to get better. But when you lose your edge rushers like that, it's GG's for the most part. The most I could see them win is one game in the playoffs. They catch fire. Their offense has a chance to catch fire for one game. Boom, they get one. But couldn't really see them winning two games. And once the scenarios came out that if they won on Saturday or on Sunday night, they would play the Bills the next week back to back at home. I thought that was bad. I thought that was bad because the Bills were making a lot of mistakes. They were kind of handing the game to the Dolphins. And I didn't think, and they were sticking in the game. So I was like, even if the Dolphins win, I think the Bills come back hungry next week. They fix their mistakes and they beat them. And then you're kind of left with like, yeah, we won the division. Yeah, we beat them when it kind of mattered, to win the division and get a home game. But they beat us when it really mattered, when it's actually win and you're out, or win and you're in, lose and you're out. And then that would have hurt, to beat the Bills week 18 and then lose to them in the first round. And obviously, they could have beaten them, but beating the Bills 2 weeks in a row would have been super, super tough. And now they go to the Chiefs. Now they're going to the champion's house in like negative degree weather. It's going to be crazy. By no means are the Dolphins favorites. By no means am I picking the Dolphins. I do think the Chiefs are going to win. I'll say my picks at the end of the show, at the end of the episode. I'll say my picks for all the games, all 6 games in the wild card round. So I'm not picking the Dolphins, but I'm giving you the silver lining. I'm giving you what Mike McDaniel should tell his team. So here it is. They could win this game. I'm not picking them, but they could win this game. They could catch fire. Tyreek Hill could go crazy. If they get Mostert back, if they get Achani back or healthy, he was back this game. If they get, him going, Wilson Jr. going, they could potentially beat the Chiefs. And if they beat the Chiefs and they lose in the playoffs, it's still a good season. Because although it would be, win one and then you're out, if you beat the defending champions in their stadium with Patrick Mahomes in negative degree weather, everyone will start thinking about you differently. That whole narrative that you can't beat good teams, gone. That whole narrative that you could only win in nice Miami weather, gone. That whole, question mark about Tua not being able to play or win a playoff game or even get to the team there, gone. They would have beaten Mahomes in Arrowhead in negative degree weather, and they're the reigning champions. That would be other than winning the Super Bowl, that's the game that could give them the most rep, the most credibility, the most cachet going into next year. You do that, you pull that upset off in Arrowhead, then you could always go back to that when people start hating on you. Even next season, if they start struggling against winning teams, or they were like 8-0 against teams under 500, and then they're like 0-3 against good teams, they could always have that in the back of their head. But we went to Arrowhead and we beat Mahomes in his stadium in negative degree weather. They will always have that. Now, if they would have won the division and they would have beat the Bills and then they lose in the second round, then yeah, you know what? Like, all right, you guys beat the Bills. The Bills were kind of falling apart. They were like fluky. Um, they're in your division. You're just beating teams in your division. Once you got to a team outside of your division, you lost. There's a lot of ways that could have gone spun. If the Bills would have choked earlier and you would have played someone else, like the Steelers or the Browns, you're like, okay, but you beat you beat Rudolph and you beat a 38-year-old Flacco. Like I said, I never really saw the Dolphins winning more than one game. So I don't think they would. Realistically, I didn't see them winning the Super Bowl this year. So if they were gonna win one game, the Chiefs is the team that could give them the most cachet, the most good feelings going into next year when they inevitably lose in the playoffs and their season's over. Like this team, it would be great for Dolphins fans if they make it to the Super Bowl, but without Phillips, without Chubb, like I don't see it. And Waddle a little bit hurt, I don't see it. But that's the silver lining for the Dolphins. Win this one against the Chiefs. Get your players back from injury next year. Sign a couple players. You're gonna have a different mental going into next year. You're gonna know that you could beat a good team. You're gonna know that you could play in cold weather, and it'll be a whole different mood going into next year. So this is it. This is a good setup for the Dolphins. This is, if you want to prove your haters wrong, this is it. This is the game. It sets up perfectly. People could look at it like it sets up super bad for you guys, but you could flip it and think about it positively. Like we could dispel all these notions with one game. So go out there, Dolphins, and prove it to the doubters, because I'm one of them. I'm picking the Chiefs, but I'm getting hyped just thinking about it, bro. Just thinking about that speech that McDaniel could give to his team. Like, bro, just negative degree weather, defending champions, best quarterback in the league, probably the best head coach in the league, and we beat them. Like, what's up? Like, our arrow's pointing all the way up again. Now for Tua, my boy struggled last week, struggled this week. He needs to have a little more sip in his arm. I don't know, but that would go a long ways if he's able to knock off Mahomes. He might get a contract. Currently, right now, if they lose, I don't think they offer him the contract. I think they go into the 5th year and they see what they could do afterwards. But if he knocks off Mahomes, then there's a lot of money to be had. So it's big for the Dolphins. It's big for Tua. It's big for a lot of people. So go Dolphins. Give us a good game at least. Because against the Bills, you guys didn't really show up. The Bills had a lot of mistakes. It could have been bad. It could have been a blowout. And the week before, you got blown out by the Ravens. So at least give us a good game against the Chiefs, please.